Welcome to the Racecourse grounds here in Colombo, Sri Lanka, as we bring you the Asia Rugby Men's Division 1 second game of the evening of this double header. Sri Lanka taking on India, the home team Sri Lanka on home soil after many years at this Racecourse grounds, and it's a wonderful spectacle with the lights on here at the Racecourse. And even though we had lightning and thunder previously, the weather has cleared up nicely, and the weather gods have given us a belated smile as we look out over the Sports Ministry of Sri Lanka, the Racecourse car park, and this historic ground which used to be, as the name suggests, a horse racing course, but now it has become an international rugby and football stadium, and we are very proud to bring you this game here between Sri Lanka and our big neighbours India for the first time that the two are playing in a 15s competition against each other. Many a game has been played, won and lost in the cricket, but this is the first time that Sri Lanka and India are going head to head in the rugby. Joining me in the commentary box, Romario De Silva and Abdullah Yusuf. It's going to be a really exciting game for the Sri Lankans as we look at the temperature card here. 36 degrees in the daytime. It's much below that at the moment, but the wind speed is something that's going to be interesting. Which way is it going to come from, and is the toss going to have a bearing on this game? There's a little bit of rain still around, of course, but the worst of it, we hope, is over. Gentlemen, Sri Lanka playing at home after a long time. The Racecourse upper grandstand filling up, the lower grandstand has filled up, and finally the Sri Lankan rugby fans are able to watch not just international top tier teams, but their own team in action.
That's right, Shanaka. It's just great to have international rugby back in Sri Lanka. It's even better to see the Tuskers back in action as well. As you can see, just going through their final warm-up routines. It's a relatively young team, isn't it, Shanaka? We're talking off here as well how young this team, not many players who have played 15-a-side representative rugby for the country, so I'm sure they're all pumped up to give it their best. As you can see, this is the upper grandstand, slowly but surely filling up. I think that atmosphere is going to be electric once this game starts. It's a unique experience, isn't it, seeing Sri Lanka taking on India in rugby, and I'm sure that itself lent to the hype resulting in the lead up to this game. Most of these players will be donning the national jersey for the first time, and no doubt want to put their best foot forward.
As the Sri Lankan team goes back into their hut to change into their jerseys, we'll go in for a quick break as well and come back on the other side.
Our world is growing, and so is rugby. There are more players, more teams, more matches than ever before. Luckily, our game is simple. We only really need one thing to play it, and we buy millions of them every year. Unfortunately, too many end up in the wrong place. But some balls are made better. Rhino's recycled range is made with up to 80% recycled rubber. We are still not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. You only need a ball, make it a good one. For rugby, for you, for the planet.
A ball for the planet.
A ball for the planet. A ball for the planet.
The Rhino recycled range. A ball for the planet.
Welcome back. We are moments away from kickoff as the hosts Sri Lanka take on India in the Asia Rugby Championship, the Division 1 tournament. We are following a scintillating game as Kazakhstan managed to defeat Qatar. Quite a surprising win by 33 points to 31. And now we are just moments away from kickoff here as Sri Lanka are taking on India. The Sri Lankan side, Shanaka, incidentally have just 5 players who has experience from playing in 2019.
Yes, many of them are going to be debutants and they're going to be excited. They're going to be a little nervous as well, running out in front of their home crowd, donning their national jersey for the first time. And that's going to be really something that they are going to look forward to. And it will be... they will be really excited about that. And here's the crowd that's gathered here expectantly. Sri Lanka is a rugby mad crowd, Abdullah. I'm not sure whether many of our Indian friends joining this broadcast realize how much of passion there is for India, for rugby rather. They know us as a cricketing nation, but it really is a fantastic rugby nation as well.
Absolutely, and you can just sense by the anticipation leading into this game. Everyone was talking about it, and the crowd is pouring in, you'd have to say. You can see there are people waiting to get into the stadium. This is the upper tier. That's half full, you'd have to say, and no doubt that in the next few minutes it will definitely fill up. The lower tier is pretty much jam-packed, and the atmosphere is just absolutely brilliant. The rain also has seemed to have cleared, which should help the team that wants to play a little bit more open rugby. Just coming back to Sri Lanka's tactics, Romario, you were speaking to Coach Sanath Martis yesterday, and he was talking about the need to try and play the game with a bit of tempo, considering the big forwards of India.
Yes, Abdullah, he did mention that they hope to play the ball wide and play it down the tram lines. But with the weather turning bad, there could be a bit of a change to it. But I'm sure things would have dried out on the pitch as well, and the plan will still be in play. And he would no doubt hope to spread it wide, because India consists of a few big heavy forwards. So I think that's one of the main reasons why Coach Sanath Martis is planning to play an expansive wide game.
And he's given us an indication of that, Abdullah, in his selection as well, hasn't he? Because he's kept the experience of Dushmantha Priyadarshana on the bench. He's kept the experience of Kavindu Costa also on the bench. And he wants the injection of pace from guys like Heshan Jansen and the mobility of people like Janitha Fernando on the Sri Lankan front row to really bring that pace to the game and make sure that they play some running rugby. Of course, the conditions will have the final say in whether they're able to do that. But that is what Coach Sanath Martis is planning to do. Of course, India, a new entrant into this 15th game, so we are not as familiar with them at the moment, but looks like they too will be looking to play fast and hard. In midfield, they have some interesting players. They have Mohit Khatri and Prince Khatri in the 12 and 13 positions, and those two boys are big, and they're going to come up against Sarindra Ratwata and Akash Madhushan, and that's going to be a contest that I think is going to be very interesting. And of course, the big front five that this Indian team have, and they deprive Sri Lanka of the ball.
You can see both teams ready to take the field. Sawyer Anthony, the League-winning skipper of Sierra FC will be leading the Tuskers for the first time. Some really exciting young talent in the Sri Lankan ranks, wanting to put their best foot forward and put in a performance for this big crowd here to remember. It's been a long wait, hasn't it, Shanaga, to get 15-a-side rugby back on these shores.
Certainly has, Abdullah, and I'm as excited as the players to be in the box with you guys for this international game. We've had a lot of club rugby, of course, that we've commented upon, but it really is something else to watch the Sri Lanka team running out. We've seen 2 World Cups come and go, and we know almost more about those international teams than we do our own, and it's really wonderful to see the white jersey Tuskers coming out here alongside our neighbours India, and it really is a wonderful occasion to be able to play our neighbours in at the Racecourse grounds, and hopefully this will be the start of many games that will take place between these two sides.
Shanak, also just to name the 5 players who has experienced playing the 15th game: Stefan Gregory, Tarinder Ratwat, Kavindu Di Costa, Sudaraka Dikubra, and the forwards, the front row forward who is on the bench, Dushmanta Priyadashana.
The teams lining up for their national anthems. The Indian
anthem of Sri Lanka.
done. The crowd take their seats and the players will take their positions. But before that, they will be introduced to the dignitaries. There's the CEO of Asia Rugby, Mr. Van Rooyen, being introduced to his team by Suhire Anthony, captaining Sri Lanka for the first time today. Van Rooyen accompanied by Mr. Nalin De Silva, Mr. President of Sri Lanka Rugby, who's done an outstanding job at putting this tournament together at short notice. That's Just Wang, who will take charge today from Singapore. Here's the Indian team. Some big lads in that team, many of them playing for the Delhi Hurricanes. Couple of players from the Future Hope Harlequins club as well. Fair bit of experience, of course, in this Indian team. Many of them have been in the system since about 2017 onwards. Here's India: Manu Tanwar, Suraj Prasad, Bhupendra Bokan, Shivam Shukla, Hitesh Dagar, Devendra Padir, Joginder Singh, Niraj, Sukumar Hembrom, Deepak Kumar Punia, Javed Hussain, Mohit Khatri, Prince Khatri, Abhishek Shukla, and bringing up the last line of defense, Ajit Kumar Hansta. This is the home team: Janitha Fernanda, Pulasi Dasanayaka, Charit Silva, Suhire Anthony, Ravindra Silva, Adisha Veeratunga, Tarindu Chaturanga, Lasindu Ishan Karunatilaka, Heshan Jansen, Tenukananaya Kara, Sudaraka Dikkumbara, Tarindu Ratpata, Akash Madhushankar, Dina Lekanayaka, and Murshid Zubair Dore will take the last line of defense.
The atmosphere, I have to say, here at the racecourse is electric. Great anticipation for this game ever since the fixtures were out.
Which side are you going? Left?
So Yuswang will take charge of this game between two age-old rivals, India and Sri Lanka. They've been competing with each other from the time of Ravana, and now this is the latest in that manifestation as they take each other on
Captain, ready? Captain!
in the 15th format of Rugby Union. Justwang will be assisted by Clements, Korean and the United Arab Emirates officials, and the ball bouncing for Heshan Jansen. So initial bit of nerves from the Sri Lankan team. Taken forward by Pulasi Dasanayaka, making his debut, as is Lasindu Karunatilaka in the number 8 jersey for Sri Lanka. Fresh from his league championship win, Heshan Jansen has been picked for his distribution skills, and it looks like Sri Lanka have set up their stall to run from anywhere. Akash Madhushankar. Good defense by the Indians there.
Taken back!
That was Mohit Khatri. That's a terrible kick from Tenukanane Akara, unfortunately.
Scrum advantage.
And now
Use.
there's Sukumar, who finds the Indian runners. Sukumar at the base once again. Bhupendra Bokan there, who took that ball up, but Justwang has spotted a high tackle, and the first penalty of the game will go the way of India.
Not the best of clearances there by Tenukunana Akara. Bit of nerves, you could say. First kick of the game. But after that, the Sri Lankan defenders were caught high making a tackle, and that's where the penalty was yielded for the Indians. And now in the number 12 jumper, Deepak Kumar will be lining this penalty up for the first points of the game.
Deepak Kumar Punya with the first opportunity for this Indian team to settle their nerves. The Indian skipper not forgetting to give out a few instructions, making sure his team are behind him before they charge this. Over a hushed racecourse grounds, you can hear the cry of elation from Punya as he puts his team ahead. And Sri Lanka, after not collecting the restart properly and also not clearing their lines properly, find themselves 3-0 down on the scoreboard.
Going left. Going left? Yeah.
It's just the start India would have wanted. They will settle their nerves, no doubt, but Sri Lanka need to get stuck into it. Wonderful strike by the Indian skipper. So Sri Lanka are on notice. They cannot afford to give any penalties in their own half, or they will be punished. As Nanakara restarts proceedings, Punya collects cleanly and finds good touch.
Let's use the
It's a
line.
good confident start by the Indians.
And good start by the Indian captain as well. That's always something that will lift the team. As the bench looks on, they know that there's a long way to go in this game, 77 minutes of it, so they won't be getting their hopes up at all. But Sri Lanka opt to play a 5-man line out. Adisha Viratunga is the target. Heshan Jansen. Ball through to from Tarinder Ratwatta, and that's over the top to Akash Madhushankar, and here's a spun ball out to Dina Ekanayake. And Sri Lanka looking to run, but Ekanayake needs to come back into the field of play and make sure he keeps that ball alive.
Yes, just did not make the correct option there, deciding to take on the touchline. So much easier to defend when you're running along the flank. Ekanayake needed to have cut in a bit earlier and created another phase. But Sri Lanka's tactics pretty clear from the outset. They will play the game with a bit of width.
Here's the first line out of the game for India. And they go right to the back. That's nicely collected by Hitesh Dagar. First tester for Dina Ekanayake. He's played fullback a fair few times. The Kingswood player, finding two Kingswood players in this lineup. Sudaraka Dikkumara does well to leave the ball, but that time he holds on. Ratwatta and Chaturanga, the two teammates, not in over the ball quick enough. And India once again have the better of that exchange.
Great work there by Mohit. He did spot the opportunity after the tackle was made. Sudhar Kadip Kubra tried to release the ball and get up, but he was brought down straight away, and because of that he was isolated as he made a bit of a few meters ahead, and Mohit made no mistake, get Jacqueline over the ball, and early exchanges, a couple of them going the way of India, but not this kick.
A missing touch, and Murshid Zubair is tested for the first time, and he manages to return the favor. Sri Lankan bench looks on, plenty of experience on that bench, not national, international experience. That pass to Dikkumara was not the best one from Dore.
Once he got up there, Shanaka, you can see that he went that meter ahead, and his support players were caught short, and that's why they conceded the penalty.
Great work from Mohit Khatri on the ground. And here's Sukumar making a small break. Dragged to ground by the Sri Lanka captain and Pulasi Dasanayake. And here's a bit of space now. Opening up, that was thumped through the middle by Ajit Kumar.
You are not onside.
Quite unfortunate there on that occasion, Lasindu Ishan, I think that was, or was it Tarandu Chaturanga? He did make the tackle, fell on the
You understand?
wrong side.
Yeah. Ball is out, but he's offside.
As the referee rightly explains there, he needs to come back onside and then go collect the ball. But instead, bit of a brain freeze, you could say. And when the ball is just like that, you don't see a flanker letting it go at any part of the at any point of the game.
We saw Kazakhstan earlier on this evening conceding quite a few penalties, and despite that they managed to win the game. But Sri Lanka, I don't think will have it that easy against India. If they concede penalties, they will be made
After
to
you
pay.
stay the mark, I don't
Let's
want
watch
you
it
to kick
again.
anymore. Yeah, yeah.
Here's Joginder Singh, who takes the ball forward. And Tarindu Chaturanga really needed to come back on side before playing that ball. He's experienced enough at club level. He should have known better than that. It's the ball from Suraj Prasad. Nicely taken at the back. They've gone to the number 6 jumper twice now, India. And Sri Lanka have done well in their maul defense. This is an area of the game that the game will be decided upon.
Okay, leave it now.
But it's interesting to see India's tactics at the line-out, isn't it, Shanik? It's something we haven't seen at all, really. They really loop the ball high. It's a bit of a risk because if it's a pretty windy conditions, the ball can go sideways. But conditions seem to be relatively still here at the racecourse, so that tactics thus far is paying off. It's a real loopy throw-in that they do at the line-out.
Hitesh Dagar is their target man. And he's not... he's quite a large boy, Hitesh Dagar. So he takes a bit of time to go up, which is probably why they're
Wait for my call, listen.
increasing the trajectory on that throw.
Crouch!
First scrum of the game coming up. Very interesting to see the technique of the two teams,
Everybody is already
especially
at set.
India.
Yes, no gap. Before the game, I talked about this. Hold your weight.
So referee Wang being
Eights, I need you in as well, yeah? No hanging
very
out.
strict
Eights,
there.
I need you in. No hanging back.
He needs the 8s to get their heads in between the second rows before they
Hold your weight.
bind. Charit
Yep.
Silva on the tight head side of the Sri Lanka scrum.
Crouch! Bind.
Heshan Jansen to feed. Karunatilaka holds it, and now Ratwata will have an opportunity with a no pressure kick to give Sri Lanka some territorial advantage.
Keep coming.
The
No, keep
favor
coming.
is returned, and Heshan Jansen now will run with his Kandy teammate Tarinder Ratwata, who looks for the 50-22, and the bounce is not favorable, or the lack of bounce, I should say, is not favorable at all for Sri Lanka. And Ajit Kumar puts the ball into touch.
Yes, you have to say a net gain for Sri Lanka. So some good intelligent tactical play by Ratwata, one of the vice captain of this team, and the player with probably the most amount of caps for Sri Lanka. Will really need to take control of the three-quarter play.
Yes, you. Bind.
Most amount of experience for sure, Abdullah, but it's his first Sri Lanka cap in the 15s jersey. Already played and scored a try against the All Blacks in the 7s, but this is very much his first appearance as Sukumar runs back and tries to open it up for Khatri. Murshid Zubair is beautifully positioned and kicks into space. Now the chase has to be good.
Play on!
Play on is the call from referee Wang, and Lasindu Ishan goes in after it.
Outside.
Nice work by Hitesh Dagar there to get over the ball.
Use.
Sukumar is ordered to use it, but it's not a good pass to Deepak Kumar. And you have to feel sorry for the Indian number 6.
Right try, Manu. ठीक है.
And see the replay. Ideally, he should have just given it to the forwards and
Same.
sent them in
Hold
close
before
for
the
a
set.
couple of
Wait.
phases and made the angle better for him to clear the lines, but instead opted to go for the long pass and not the best of options on that occasion.
Deepak Kumar, his first mistake of the game,
Bind.
has given away an attacking scrum to the hosts. And referee Wang being very technical about these scrums, as he must be, especially
sides
early on in the game.
Are setting before the set. Understand? Yes.
Best attacking opportunity for the Lankans thus far in the game. Just about 15 meters away from the try line.
Crouch.
Wide open spaces on the right flank.
Bind.
Sri Lanka will probably look to put this one through the hands. The Indians on the... It's a brilliant scrum from Sri Lanka. Karunatilaka manages to get the ball away and Khatri comes through and hacks it away, but there was a penalty. And the referee says that it is for breaking away.
Marks over here.
Indian team not holding their bind, but that's an encouraging start from the Sri Lankan front five.
And straight away, Captain Surya Anthony opts for yet another scrum. Can see as the pressure was coming from Sri Lanka, the Indian scrum just capitulated, and that's why the referee said that they broke away too early and yielded the penalty in favour of Sri Lanka.
We haven't seen the Sri Lankan scrum doing that for a while.
Crouch.
And even though they're not the biggest forward pack,
Set.
they're showing that technique can make up for what you lack in size. India ready for them this time as Lasindu Ishan goes off the base and he's almost to the line, reaches out but he's not close enough. There's no TMO.
Hold. Time.
I scored it, says Lasindu. You can hear him.
Time.
There will be a consultation
I have held
between
up.
referee
Do you have
Wang.
try? Held up. Held up.
Referee Wang saying he has held up, so he's going to go to his assistant and ask whether there was
Can
a
you
try
see
scored.
try? Yeah, held up. Yep, thank you. Yeah. Held up. Goal line drop.
So held up is a call, and Lasindu
up.
Ishan will go back to that video
Goal line
replay and
drop.
ask whether he should perhaps have set up a phase instead of going for the try there himself. Made a lovely break, the number 8.
Held up.
But the Indian defense was good enough to hold him up just short, inches short, I would imagine, of the line.
Bit of anxious moments it had to take for Sri Lanka, just going by the scoreboard. 13 minutes into the game, trailing 3 points to nil. Dikumbura collects the kick, passes it on to Ratwata, who is held up but does well to wiggle out of the defense. Jensen, Dure, Nanakara, Adisha. Again, Sri Lankan backs probably a bit guilty of going sideways, not preserving space for the outside runners.
White's ball. Yes.
Anxious looks on the face
White
of Nilufer
White
Ibrahim. Kavindra Costa next to him and Hiranta Pereira next to him. Here's Dore, gave the
Stop
good
with
pass,
the
but
ball.
not enough straightening
Call.
here. Adisha Veeratunga needed to step back, and that's exactly why you lose the loose forward in the tram lines, Abdullah, for them to be able to have the bulk to cut back into the field of play and set up that phase. Here are the Sri Lankan squad players who didn't make it to the match day 23. They know that they'll still have a role in this competition. But in the early stages, just 15 minutes gone, and you have to say India are looking good value.
Indeed, they are looking extremely good value, and
Full man.
they
Full
surely
man.
seem to be springing a
6.
few surprises in the first few exchanges of this game.
Yes, they've hung in there, isn't it? They've been under a bit of pressure, but they've hung in there. And the longer they keep Sri Lanka
wait.
scoreless, there is going to be a few panic setting in. You can see Sanath Martis, the head coach. Wouldn't be too worried as of yet, but would like to get that first score on the board soon as possible.
Well, he's been around forever, Abdullah, but it's still his debut as Sri Lanka national coach as well in the 15s. So congratulations to him. You're never going to get a smile out of him during a game, though. You can see Adesha Veeratunga urging on his players. This is the Sri Lankan driving maul, the trademark driving maul. Is it going to get all the way to the line, or do India have enough resources to stop it? Here's Pulasti Dasanayake. Has probably never seen a field so open in his life and forgot to run it in under the posts. But Pulasti Dasanayake settles the nerves of the entire crowd gathered here today as he touches down after a wonderful driving maul from the Sri Lankan 8.
An energy-sapping driving maul there from the Sri Lanka pack, you could say. They did all the hard work there, as we see on this replay. There was no stopping them. Good body positions, and Adish just pulling them, and once the Indian pack got caught in there, Pulasti just saw an open field and he goes untouched. I'm sure he won't score a more easy try in his whole life.
He timed the break beautifully, didn't it? I don't think he planned it, but Deepak Kumar just looked to his right to organize his defensive line, and that's when Pulasti broke away. It's like one of those catches that go through the slips. And Tarinder Atwata obliges with the conversion. And this will definitely settle the nerves of the Sri Lanka debutants, which involve almost everyone on the pitch except Sahiri Anthony, the captain in this starting 15 for Sri Lanka, and maybe Sudaraka Dikkumbura. Here we see it again. Jansen getting in there, urging his forwards on. Pulasti looking up, keeps his head up, and then he makes a break for it. And Deepak Kumar is just a little too engaged by what's going on outside him. Again, Heshan Jansen, or Dina Lekanayaka rather, allowing the ball to bounce. So Sri Lanka, 2 restarts that they haven't taken too well. Janidu Fernando now trying to find some space. He has the ball over the top. Sudaraka Dikkumbura cuts back. This is what Dina Lekanayaka needs to learn from the experienced campaigner. Here's Dore, lovely short pass from Murshid Zubair. Here's Sarinder Atwata to Dikkumbura. Dikkumbura now will be able to put his ears back, but it's a beautiful tackle in the end by Ajit Kumar, the fullback for India, doing his job. And now Indian defense can regroup. They've got numbers, but it's all forwards for Sri Lanka. Jansen goes blindside. Beautiful quick ball to Adisha Veeratunga, and here's the pass to Tenukanane Akkara, and Sri Lanka seem to have found their mojo. And the slippery ball is sticking onto the jumpers of these Sri Lankan players, as that was a try that they can be very proud of.
Yes, they just needed to get that first score, is it, Shanaga, to just settle the nerves more than anything else. Some good face play. Thought Jansen did extremely well to distribute the ball from the base. And Nane Akkara putting the finishing touches to a good move. So Sri Lanka are well on their way. And those first 15 minutes seem certainly behind them now.
We have to say the couple of touches from Murshid Zubair on the near side touchline and the far side touchline just to make sure he got the ball away from the defense. And of course, Dikkumbura showing up twice in that move. The outside backs really made that happen for Sri Lanka, as Sarinder Atwata looks to line up a much easier kick.
Tarinder Atwata 2 out of 2 as he extends the Sri Lanka lead further, and putting a bit of a gloss onto that lovely try scored by Tenukanane Akkara.
So that's 4 points on his 15th debut. That's the pass that in the face of the defense that managed to get it out to Adisha Veeratunga, who had the presence of mind, and the 2 CR teammates combining to score the second try for Sri Lanka. Here's Deepak Kumar. He'll be anxious to make sure that India doesn't go further behind. They have to score next to make sure their heads don't drop. Jansen, we haven't seen a box kick yet. This is for Dina Lekanayaka to chase. Sukumar manages to pickpocket the ball away from Lekanayaka.
One step wide.
And now they don't have a scrum half because Sukumar's at the bottom of that. Picked up. Taken forward.
No advantage.
But the referee has played a long advantage for the knock-on.
Scrum blue. Knock on, no advantage.
Not the best of passes there by Mohit
Let's play the scrum.
Khatri, but this was the occasion where Dina Lekanayaka, he did all the hard work to get there, but unfortunately just the slippery ball not falling into his grasp, and was recovered by Sukumar, but
I'm watching.
A couple of passes later,
I'm watching. Watch your
the
bite.
ball did not go into the hand of the Indian players and the referee went back for the advantage.
A nice little artful dodger kind of move from Sukumar there, just
Are you okay
to
with the gap?
pickpocket the ball away from Ekanayaka.
Half a step
Seems
back,
a
please.
wily character, Sukumar, the little scrum half.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Stay wide, stay.
Sukumar with the pass to Deepak, who's looking for the 50-22, and it's a brilliant kick. It is an absolutely outstanding kick.
No. Wait.
And yes, it is a 50-22.
But taken back in. Taken back in. Yeah, so. No 22.
So that's the call
He
from
passed it back into
Just
50.
Wang, because it
Yeah,
was passed back. So even though Deepak Kumar's kick was a brilliant one,
No.
it was passed back
Passed it
from
back into the
Sukumar
50, so no
back
50,
into the 50-meter line. So that does not make it a
Scrum
kick.
was in front.
The
right?
scrum was the scrum was not in the 50 meters.
The scrum was inside the 23. Yeah. Faris, do you know if the scrum was inside? Okay, okay. 50-22 on. Scrum blue.
Well, the referees have consulted and they have come to the conclusion that the scrum was indeed inside the Indian half. And because the scrum was inside the Indian half, the 50-22 stands. So referee Wang using the consultation method to come to the right decision, which is always a good thing because that's why we're here. And again, that's that long trajectory of Suraj Prasad going to the back to Hitesh Dagar. Still going the Indian driving maul. They want to return the favor to their
No 5.
home team.
No.
Brought down legally, says the referee. Deepak Kumar wants to have a go himself. Here's Sukumar. Not the greatest pass to Shukla.
Advantage.
Neeraj, the big
Not
Neeraj,
bowling, penalty
in
advantage.
the center of the field, managing to
Penalty
win a
advantage.
penalty. Sukumar
Over here.
knocks on, and the referee will come back quickly for the penalty. Pulasi Dasanayake, the try scorer, not rolling away quickly enough.
Quite unfortunate there. I think Pulasi did fall on the wrong side and he did not make any effort to move, and that's why the referee
Right,
went
roll
back to that.
sideways, yeah? Roll side.
You can hear the referee giving instructions saying that they need to roll to either side. If he did try to show the referee that he was making an effort, he
On
could
the
have
line,
managed to maybe get out of it, but no effort shown, and the referee straight away put his arm out for the advantage.
The Sri Lanka number 15 jersey has had some incumbents, hasn't it, Abdullah? At Chanka Jayavira as far back as I can remember, and then of course Nalaka Virakoti for the longest time,
Fine, thank
and
you.
then Riza Mubarak made it his own, and now Murshid Zubair is a young pretender to that number 15 jersey. That was well won by Hitesh Dagar at the back again, but Adisha Veeratunga seems to have come over the top, but releases when he's told to by the referee. Suhiri Anthony trying his best to obstruct the passage of this Indian maul, and they've done well. Indian players appealing.
It's a maul. It's clear up with scrum. White.
It's interesting now. There've been quite a few lineouts. I think Sri Lanka should be able to read what exactly is happening in Sri Lanka. They're going to the number 6 spot, and it's a long loopy throw. So
Win your-
maybe it's something, a message could be sent out to the players to just anticipate that and probably time it better, because they just seem to have that one option. They're executing it extremely well, but if the pod at the back of the line out is aware of it, which they should be, and can read it and do a bit of spoiling work before and not allow the Indian line out to get any clean ball.
That's where the experience comes in, doesn't it, Abdullah? Because by now, an experienced international team would have figured that out and they would have put up a competing jumper at number 6, maybe even move Adisha Viratunga from number 2 to number 5 to try and disrupt.
Keep the cap.
I'm sure Coach Sanat Martis will have a word with them about that at halftime, but at the moment, they have a scrum to defend almost on their line. It's an early engagement. Janidu Fernando, and they're flying up in defense. And the ball is knocked on. That was Mohit Khatri, who ran a beautiful angle.
It's the same thing. So crouch, bind, they are already coming in. Yes, talk to him.
So referee giving instructions to Sohiro Anthony that Janidu Fernando is setting too early.
A bit too eager there, the Indian players to take the quick. Unfortunately, just knocking it on. Now, crucial scrum because
Crouch,
who does that, he'll be penalized with a long arm penalty.
set.
That's a really good hit from India. You could almost feel it up here in the commentary box. And Sri Lanka do well to come away with that one. Lovely break from Tarinder Ratwata. He just couldn't kick it. Heshan Jansen was cut down by the man behind him, and Lasudu Ishan Karunatilaka has stayed in the fight. And Jansen now to Dasanayaka. Looking for quick ball. But they don't have it, so they will set for Jansen to kick. Dinala Ekanayaka will look to repeat the catch, but Sukumar does well and does even better to get it off the ground to Mohit Khatri, who's been everywhere for India. Hitesh Dagar has done plenty of carrying. He's a big lad, but leaving it behind that time. Was Manu Tanwar. The big prop running on at a nice angle, but just not able to hold the ball. That was a little bit behind him.
Great to see the fans filling in to support the Sri Lankan Tuskers. 15's outfit playing a competitive match after a lapse of 5 years. The last been in 2019 back in Chinese Taipei, so the long wait has ended. And now they have managed to get some points on the board as well, and the early nerves have been relieved.
Keep the space.
Dikumbra, who made some telling contributions for that last Sri Lankan try.
Bind.
But just a few lapses in concentration from India, but they seem to have fought their way back into this game. Jansen to Ratwata, and it's a nice looped ball for Tenukananiakara, who uses that little pop pass that he has in his armory. Ratwata knows that the advantage is coming, but holds it up nicely for Murshid Zubair. Zubair gives it to Dikumbra. And Akash Madhushankar gets in there and manages to stay in the field of play with a little bit of help from his friends, but no advantage is the call from the referee. They will come back for the penalty.
Sri Lankan three quarters using the space to good effect. The Kumbura did extremely well to step inside and keep the ball in play.
Side entry.
Sri Lanka just seemed so dangerous in unstructured plays, and that's the way I think they'd want to play this game. So far, you'd have to say in this first half an hour, India have probably dominated the game territorially. But when Sri Lanka have been offered the opportunity to play in open play, the backs have definitely looked dangerous.
Yes, their outside backs look like they have maybe a little bit more
I am managing the off
man-on-man quality.
Every single on the knee, I'm going to blow it. Same for both sides.
Here's Ratwata, held it up, and as soon as the defender committed,
Wait.
thought perhaps Murshid Zubair should have held on to that.
We set up the line out first.
There's just no space for Sudaraka Dikumbura.
Time off. Yes. Okay, he's back on. Time on. Mark is here, first man.
It's an important line out for Sri Lanka to try and put some daylight between themselves and India, but
Time off.
the Indian defense has held so far.
Time off.
Deepak Kumar giving instructions to Shivam Shukla. Few running repairs being made to Manu Tanwar. Looks like he might have hurt his ribs a little bit in that last collision.
It's actually a skill of Murshid Zubair Shanaka to not really go into contact. Rather, he just draws and passes the ball, and he does that really effectively as well. This time around, though, could he have held on to it for that extra second, because he had the supporters coming in, but opted against it. And
so you white over here.
however, the penalty, the Sri Lanka were playing with the
you always have a step, understand?
penalty advantage.
Hold.
That's Sanket Patil that has come on in the front of the line out. It's not often we see a number 14 lifting at number 1 in the line out, but Adisha Veeratunga and Pulasi Dasanayaka combining at the front of the line out, but very definitely Dasanayaka did put a foot out there.
Blue ball, Faris. Yes.
Yes, it was a clever little move, unfortunately. Just running out of a bit of space.
Front is yours, yeah? Front is yours.
Sri Lanka just trying something different.
If the ball doesn't travel
Let's
far,
see
you keep
whether
a
India
flag
will
up.
do anything different in their line out. So far it's just been the loopy throw to number 6.
So half a step. Yes. Thank you.
Adisha Veeratunga just having a bit of a word in the ear of the referee.
Nice movement by the Indian line out, and the timing is good as well. Veeratunga's best efforts are to no avail, but they've managed to hold him up.
Okay, leave it now, White, leave it. Play.
It's a huge tackle by Taridu Chaturanga, one of the best defenders in the Sri Lankan setup. Deepak Kumar has no option but to put this right down the throat of Murshid Dore, but it was a half volley for him, and he does brilliantly. Manages to get it away as well to Akash Madhushankar. Madhushankar with a little bit of a burst here. And Heshan Jansen, it's runs straight into the hulking figure of Shivam Shukla, who never was offside, and the Sri Lankan Racecourse crowd made sure referee Wang knew exactly what they thought of that. Jansen to Dore. Suhiru Anthony. Yes, Teluka Nanayakar. Yes, Sudaraka Dikkubra, acres of space on the inside, and Dikkubra needs no second invitation. Dikkubra will go in for Sri Lanka's third try. There were acres of space opening up, and you knew the left foot step was coming. It was just a matter of when. And Sri Lanka going to a 19-3 lead.
So that's exactly what the way Sri Lanka wants to play. It's all started with Jansen taking that quick tap. They don't want you to get into a set-piece battle in this game against India. Up the tempo as much as possible. In that unstructured play, it's where the Sri Lankan three-quarters can thrive, and that's exactly what has happened so far in this game.
Nice ball movement. It looks like the ground has dried up. And if it hasn't, that's significantly good handling from the Sri Lankan backs. As Ratpatha steps up to add to his tally of 4 points already. Hirusha Netmina might come on later on in the game. Watchers on as Ratpatha converts with ease, his easiest kick of the evening so far. Congratulations are in order. Ratpatha just married a couple of weeks ago. And his honeymoon has been rugby practice.
Rather, Sudaraka Dikkubra needs no second invitation. Stepped on the accelerator and put on the left and went beside the upright.
Deepak Kumar, lovely hanging kick, and again it's the third restart that Sri Lanka have made a hash of, but they've managed to recover all three of them. Here's Janidu, beautiful offload to his captain, Suhiru Anthony. Places the ball just well enough for Adisha Veerathanga to act as scrum half. Not messing around before half time, says Ratwatha, and he thumps this ball as far back as he can. And Ajit Kumar at fullback succumbs to the wet ball.
Yes, that's just experience for you, isn't it, Shanaka? Get play back in to India's half. Ratwatha doing exactly that. The Indian wing three-quarter was in no position to collect that ball cleanly and knocked it on in the rush.
Yes.
And as a result, another great attacking opportunity for Sri Lanka.
Here's the knock on. You have to feel for Ajit Kumar as he's looking into the lights as well. The ball is very, very wet, but it's also good to see Abhishek Shukla running back to take his position on the left wing.
Crouch.
Looked like he might be in a bit of strife, but he seems fine.
Set.
Jansen with the feed. Karuna Tilaka, offside is the call because there was an early break from Devendra Padir.
Offside, yeah.
Devendra just leaving his flank seconds before.
Scrum. 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 Your flanker.
Sohiru Anthony calling for a scrum. Interesting call. I would have thought with just about 4 minutes left, they might call upon Tarendra Ratwatha to
Pack leader, your flanker, yeah.
try
Manage him.
and put this one through. The frown
Let's
has
set up,
given
let's set
way
it up.
to a more equanimous look on the court of on the face of Sanath Martis. Perhaps we'll see a smile in the
Let's go,
second
boys,
half.
let's
Who
go.
knows?
Mark is here, yeah. Yeah, wait for Michael. Crouch. Bind.
India have lost Manu Tanwar.
Set. Yep, far side moving.
Early shout by the referee saying that Patil was the man who was at fault, and the first mistake from Ratwatha. The slippery ball has not been
Boy.
kind
Scrum. Let's move over
to
there.
two players together.
Move here. Mark's here.
Yes, a rare
Boys,
by
move here.
Ratwatha.
Mark's here.
Probably just looking for the offload, but knocking the ball in the rush. Sri Lanka yet though can apply a bit of pressure at the scrum here. India did look vulnerable at set piece last time around.
Looking to add the icing on the cake with a try.
The third of many charge downs today. We saw plenty in the Kazakhstan-Qatar game.
Goal line drop, yeah.
And that time Sri Lanka managing to charge down
Yes.
Deepak Kumar, but no real damage done.
22. 22. Charge outside.
Will be a goal line
22.
dropout or a 22-meter dropout.
Drop.
Yes, the referee has brought them back to the 22 because the ball was taken in goal by the Sri Lankan player. Kumar puts it long. Again, it looks like the ball coming out of those lights is making the players quite uncomfortable. Dinaleka Naika dropping that one. Sudaraka Dikkumara puts the left foot fend on, and Ratwatha gets the ball out of the way very quickly, and he waits it nicely for Dikkumara, and no options for Ajit Kumar but to carry the ball into touch. He's been good, Ajit Kumar, barring that drop. He's been
Last
everywhere,
play.
managed to make a couple of important tackles as well, and he's covering the ground.
Last play of the half.
Yes, again,
Last play.
interesting tactical kick by Ratwatha,
14.
identifying a bit of space for
Half a
Dikkumar
step,
to
thank you.
chase on, but India's cover defense
Yes.
was up to the task on that occasion. But another good attacking opportunity for Sri Lanka. Dare I say, a driving maul is in order.
It's Indian coaching staff making notes. Despite the experience of this Indian team, of the players who have been in the system, it's match practice perhaps that's a little lacking. Many of them from the same club, the Delhi Hurricanes, so the competition itself
Out.
not as intense as the Sri Lankan players face week in, week out.
Use it, 9. Use it.
Jansen, line speed brilliant from India, but nicely passed on from Ratwat. And Murshid Zubair finds the pass to Dinale Kanayaka, but he's just dragged into touch. Outstanding defense from Abhishek Shukla.
Was there a stray hand in there?
Who is the player?
The ball was hit into touch. Referee just consulting with his assistant.
29. Time. Space. I have blue player hitting the ball into touch.
Not checking number.
Number 29. Think preventing a try or just PK?
Red card?
Not penalty try.
No, it's just a yellow card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cap.
So looks like there has been a conversation, and as you spotted initially, Abdullah, there was a stray hand in there.
But it wasn't.
And yes, as much as
Penalty
he's
here.
done a lot of work, Ajit Kumar Hansda has to go to the bin because he has prevented a potential try being scored. Plenty of defense on the inside. If we can show you that again, we'll show you exactly where that yellow card came into play. He batted the ball with his hand away from the field of play, and you can't hit the ball out. That's the rule. You can kick it out, you can run it out, but you can't hit it out.
This is a replay. Ball sent out wide by the Sri Lankan three-quarters. Did well to find the
Fine,
space.
fine. White, I need you one step back.
Well, it looks
White,
like they
I
might
need you
have
one
put the
step
wrong
back.
man in the bin.
Crouch.
Should have been Prince Khatri that
Five.
went to the naughty chair, but
Set.
in fact, India have lost one of their key players to an error. Ajit Kumar Hansda, and they could do with him in these last few seconds of the first half. Lasindu Ishan trying to do what he couldn't in the first opening minutes of the game. Score from a 5-meter scrum. Ratwat using his strength.
No.
Jansen dummies, but India alive to it. Sri Lanka sensing another try coming. India one-man shot. Adisha Veeratunga tries to go over the top. And Tarindu Chaturanga, but he has knocked it on. It looked for all money like he had. And referee Wang was right on the spot. But India will come back to play the first few minutes of the second half with a man down. And that man is the important Ajit Kumar Hansda. But they held out, and that will give them some confidence, Abdullah. They managed to allow Sri Lanka to attack for phase after phase and didn't concede a try in the dying moments of that game, which means that they are desperate to be in this game in the second half, and that's going to turn this into a real contest.
Absolutely. I think the last 5 minutes defensive effort will probably give them a little bit of confidence going into half-time. But from Sri Lanka's point of view, I think they'll be pretty relieved the way the first half ended overall. For the first 15 minutes, it was a pretty nervy time for them. 3 points to nil, India were ahead, but 3 excellently executed tries see Sri Lanka going into half-time 21 points to 3.
Highlights of the first half. Sri Lanka not collecting that kickoff cleanly, and India getting the first points on the board to Deepak Kumar. And then it was Pulasi Dasanayak at the end of a 10 to 12 meter driving maul. that strolled over the line. And although Tarinder Ratwata gave him a hug there, he had to put a bit of work in to convert from an acute angle. This was some good work started on the opposite side of the field, and Adi Saviratunga offloading to Tenukanane Akara, who gratefully took the opportunity. And Ratwata's conversion was much easier this time. This was the third try of the half. Nane Akara to Dik Kubura, and you can see the acres of space. Patel just couldn't get across, although he tried his best. And Dik Kubura went under the posts, as good wingers do. And Ratwata knocked that one over for the conversion as well. Sri Lanka tried really hard to finish that try, finish the half on a high rather, but India managed to stop them, and we will stop now as well for a short while and be back with second half action of this Asia Rugby Men's Division 1 competition.
Asia Rugby is more than 500,000 players, coaches, and organizers experiencing the game in this multicultural region. Established in 1968, Asia Rugby has expanded from 8 founding countries to more than 36 member unions, spanning Lebanon in the west to Guam in the east, Kazakhstan in the north, to Indonesia in the south. Home to more than half the world's population and an incredible 80% of its youth, Asia Rugby has grown from holding just one tournament every 2 years to running more than 15 international competitions each and every year, culminating in the iconic Asia Rugby Championship and the Asia Rugby 7 Series. Asia Rugby continues to grow the game through initiatives like Get Into Rugby, initiatives that have helped us expand our player base by more than 25% per year, initiatives designed to empower our kids with the knowledge and skills necessary to develop great players and inspire positive social change. Asia Rugby is a diverse collection of cultures bound together by our core values of integrity, passion, solidarity, discipline, and respect, driving our belief that rugby makes a positive contribution to people's lives. Asia Rugby is taking our great game, its spirit, and everything it stands for to over half the world's population. And we invite you to be part of it. Asia Rugby. We can do better, but together. Asia Rugby is more than 500,000 players, coaches, and organizers experiencing the game in this multicultural region. Established in 1968, Asia Rugby has expanded from 8 founding countries to more than 36 member unions, spanning Lebanon in the west to Guam in the east, Kazakhstan in the north, to Indonesia in the south. Home to more than half the world's population and an incredible 80% of its youth, Asia Rugby has grown from holding just one tournament every 2 years to running more than 15 international competitions each and every year, culminating in the iconic Asia Rugby Championship and the Asia Rugby 7 Series. Asia Rugby continues to grow the game through initiatives like Get Into Rugby, initiatives that have helped us expand our player base by more than 25% per year, initiatives designed to empower our kids with the knowledge and skills necessary to develop great players and inspire positive social change. Asia Rugby is a diverse collection of cultures bound together by our core values of integrity, passion, solidarity, discipline, and respect, driving our belief that rugby makes a positive contribution to people's lives. Asia Rugby is taking our great game, its spirit, and everything it stands for to over half the world's population. And we invite you to be part of it. Asia Rugby. We can do better, but together.
Our world is growing, and so is rugby. There are more players, more teams, more matches than ever before. Luckily, our game is simple. We only really need one thing to play it, and we buy millions of them every year. Unfortunately, too many end up in the wrong place. But some balls are made better. Rhino's recycled range is made with up to 80% recycled rubber. We are still not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. You only need a ball, make it a good one. For rugby, for you, for the planet.
A ball for the planet.
A ball for the planet.
A ball for the planet.
The Rhino recycled range. A ball for the planet.
Very good evening and welcome back to the second half of this live game between Sri Lanka and India in the Asia Rugby Men's Division 1 competition. Kazakhstan have already made the final after a rain-hit first semi, and Sri Lanka are leading at half-time for an opportunity to play Kazakhstan in the final, which will be on Saturday. I must correct myself, and I'm very grateful to Mr. Neil Vijayaratne, who has just messaged us on commentary and said the first official game between Sri Lanka and India actually took place in 2004. So it's been 20 years in the waiting for the second game to take place, and I hope it doesn't take another 20 years for the third one to take place for sure. Thank you very much to our rugby historian, Mr. Neil Vijayaratne. Pradeep Basnayaka captaining that Sri Lankan team to Mumbai, coached by the late George Simkin, who did wonders for Sevens Rugby and of course Asian Rugby. He was in charge of China and of course Sri Lanka. Ratratha, who has been impeccable off the kicking tee. Thenukananayakkara had a bit of a hairy moment in the first half, but came back with a try, and that will definitely settle his nerves as he kicks off the second half. And India will come back, firing all cylinders against the Sri Lankan team. Holding on is the call.
You want the side?
And Adisha tries to take it quickly. Indian coach Nas Bota is a fierce competitor himself, so he will want this team to lift. But to be fair to them, they haven't played badly, Abdullah. They've just not had much ball or much territory.
That's right, they're really stuck in there, isn't it? They got into the Sri Lankan outfit, especially in those first 15 minutes. But just that little bit of experience, a bit of class, eventually showing from Sri Lanka's point of view. The Sri Lanka will really want to up the ante in this second half and make a real strong statement, isn't it? It was a bit of a patchy performance in the first half. Understandable, probably combinations are not set in as yet.
Yes, it is a very, very young team. Pulasi Dasanayake just gets the timing wrong, but Adisha Veeratunga manages to hang time long enough to get a fingertip to the ball. That's what you were talking about, Abdullah, the combinations. These are players who haven't really played together before at all. Jansen, Nanekar, Ratwata. The pass is behind Dikkumbura, but he does well to hold on to it. Getting over the ball nicely that time was Mohit Khatri, who has been one of India's best players in this game so far. And Sukuma at scrum half doesn't have a box kick in his arsenal. And Deepak Kumar kicks it long to Dina Lekanayaka. Dina Lekanayaka steps into the field of play and manages to find some support. Lovely long pass from Jansen. Here's some space now. Adisha Veeratunga slipping in this muddy outfield. The game was very wet earlier on, and the heavy Kazakh forward pack and the heavy Qatari forward pack as well have well and truly ploughed this field up. Here's Dore at first receiver. Does well to go in and clear the ball as well. Ravin De Silva flying up in defense.
Be careful, yes. High tackle.
That time was Hitesh Dagar, but the referee not liking how quickly he came up.
He rushed up out of the defensive line, but just Ravin De Silva ducking in to that hit, and hence the Indian player just hit him a bit high, and the referee straight away blew straight away for the penalty in favor of Sri Lanka. And now pretty much the first real attacking opportunity for Sri Lanka inside the Indian 22, as we see the replay there. Big Indian lad coming in fast and hard on Ravin De Silva.
Lovely to see the crowds gathering here despite the rain earlier on this evening. They're not just all sitting in the grandstand, they're gathered all around this racecourse grounds as Sri Lanka look to put another driving maul to good use. Pulasi Dasanayake. Dagar is trying to come over the top.
Leave him out.
And Dasanayake for his second try. Yes, it scored. Pulasi Dasanayake has become the hero of the Sri Lankan team. In the first 45 minutes, he scored 2 tries and found his mark more often than not in the line out, and Sri Lanka now out to a comfortable lead, 26 points to 3.
It's good power, good technique, good patience by the Sri Lankan 8.
Through the center is fine.
The Indian pack tried as they might, just couldn't withstand the pressure applied from that driving maul. And Dasanayake going over for his second try.
Nice and tight. Charit Silva at the front doing his job as well. Sohiru Anthony in there too. And Dasanayake just finding a little bit of a gap to go over the line. Movements from the Indian players on the floor, which means that the try was probably scored. toughest kick of the night for Ratpatha. For the first time, he's wavered off the tee. Some fatigue will be setting in, Abdullah, and this is where Coach Sanath Martis will start thinking to himself, when is enough for me to bring off some of my key players? Kazakhstan is going to be a tough game for the Sri Lankan team if they are to keep this lead and walk away with this game. They will need a lot of recovery because it's only 3 days away and it's going to be a tough encounter. So when does he start taking off some of his key players to give them some rest and to give his bench some experience? It's a good kick by Jansen. Does fine touch and poor old Javed Hussain. Looks like he might have, in fact it's Niraj. Looks like he might have just left that one to go into touch, but instead knocks it on.
At the looks of it, I think the AR is saying that it bounced on the line, Shanaka. This is a replay of the kick. Heshan Jansen. Quite a tough one there, you could say. White color rugby ball bouncing on the white line. It's up. The call is up for anyone.
There's no TMO here. And poor old Deepak, Ajit Kumar rather, is still in the bin. He's nowhere near the offense that happened.
The ball is over there.
Prince Khatri
The ball is here.
looks away and pretends it wasn't him.
Get away, get away.
It's a real dogged battle at the breakdown here. And India win it. They've really taken it to Sri Lanka up front, haven't they?
Yes, they've tried to impose themselves on the Sri Lankan 8. Have been successful on a few occasions. There's the Indian coach, former South African legend, Nas Botha. He's been with the Indian team for a while.
It's a real coup for a fledgling rugby nation to sign a player of or a coach of that caliber, isn't it, Abdullah? Just raises the profile of the game worldwide as well as within the country.
There's no doubt when that appointment was made, probably one eye was on the impact it would have on the wider rugby community in India.
How many? Boys.
See, Shanaga, as you're talking, you can see the reserves being brought in. Probably it'll start with the tight 5.
So it looks like the first man to come on will be Sashika Ashan. And it's a proud moment for Wesley College as well to have 2 players in there making their debuts, Sashika Ashan and Murshid Zubair, who both played together for that same Wesley side. And if our good friend Paul Toya is watching, wherever he is in the world, I'm sure he'll be very proud that 2 of his players have made it to the national squad, national team rather. Ashan will probably replace Ravin De Silva or Sohira Anthony.
Boys, time is on.
There's the big Shivam
Time
Shukla.
is back on.
He's mended.
Gets a new set of wheels. And now back in the line out straight away.
Untidy ball from the line out, and this is again where fatigue is starting to set in.
But again, it's just the stop-start nature that Sri Lanka would want to avoid. Playing a bit into India's hands, want to keep the tempo of the game up.
That fluency is going to be really important, not so much against India now, but against Kazakhstan. They're going to have to stay away from contact. Just watch out for some of those big Kazakhstani tight 5 runners, especially their captain as well, the number 8. Sukuma has had a good game.
Reset.
You can see the Indian forwards tiring a bit on the 50-minute mark.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
So when the fatigue sets in, that the scrums become a little scrappy. This is where referee Wang will need to assert his authority as well and make sure that the game doesn't get too static. Deepak Kumar, a lovely roop around move. Here's Khatri. But Khatri just loses the ball. Straight over the top is Shukla and Adisha Viratunga. Has no hesitation in taking the quick tap. Murshid Zubair puts this one into acres of space, and fresh back from the sin bin is Ajit Kumar. India will be very happy that they didn't concede too many points with Ajit Kumar off. He was a key defender for them.
Yes, it was just the one try, if I'm not mistaken. And they managed to hold up Sri Lanka just on the stroke of half-time as well with 14 players. So I have to say that was a very good defensive effort. Again, this game, after that first try Sri Lanka scored, has just kind of whittled down. I think Sri Lanka need to try and spark something up. It's been very stop-start.
I think an injection from the bench will do the job, Abdullah, because all these Sri Lankan players also playing for their place. And Adisha Viratunga just relaxing a little bit there. Looked away at the top of his jump.
Get away, White.
So important for young players watching, especially if you're an Indian young player thinking of trying to take up the game of rugby. Watch the ball into your hands. Sure, you've had many a cricket coach tell you that growing up in India, but rugby coaches will tell you that too. Here's Murshid Zubair. Nice quick hands from the centres. Lovely little switch pass from Akash Madhushankar to Sudarka Dikkumara. They've developed understanding already, the police and army players, but that time
Unlucky.
Ravin De Silva can't hold on to the ball by his bootlaces.
Over here, boys.
Nice to see some saffron robes in the crowd as well, Abdullah. Perhaps some monks who are at university. Walked over from the Colombo University, which is just a few meters away, to watch this game.
Over here. Okay. But wait,
That's the wonderful thing about sport, isn't it, Shanaka? Find everyone from all stratas of society attending sport. All are here today to cheer on the national team. This game has had its moments.
keep the gap.
Like to see a few more sweeping three-quarter moves from the Sri Lankan lads. The Indians, to their credit, have hung in there. Have spoiled many an attack that Sri Lanka have tried to launch.
Yes, their defense has been excellent. Here's Neeraj off the back of the scrum. We haven't seen much from him. He's a big ball carrier.
No!
Here's Sukumar. Inside his own half. Nice tackle that time by Pulasi Nasanayaka, but might have hurt his shoulder in doing so.
Stay White.
Thinking about the kick. Deepak Kumar opts to give it to his big forward runners instead. Sitesh Sagar.
No! Take it back.
And standing back in the pocket is Kumar this time. Was carried back, but doesn't find touch. It's a lovely boot on Deepak Kumar. And here's Murshid Zubair trying to get around the outside. And he does exactly that. Bumps off two tacklers. Brings it up to the 40-meter mark. Here it It is for Tharidu Chaturanga. Tries to step out of the tackle, but holding on for dear life is Khatri. Here's Tenukananekara. You haven't seen much of the ball despite being the fly half, and here it is. Gives a little bit of a Tenukananekara scores his second try. Lovely work from Murshid Zubair on the left-hand side of the field and finished off by Tenukananekara on the right-hand side of the field. Good ball handling and good ball carrying as well.
Yes, and it all started from some quick distribution by Jansen from the base of the scrum. On that occasion, Ratwata moving into the first receiver role. Tenuka moving to the number 12 position and just managing to identify the gap and was over for his second try. Sri Lanka's lead extended to 31 points to 3. It's just the way Sri Lanka would want to play this game, running at unstructured defense. And Nanayakara just managing to identify the gap and evading a couple of defenders to go over for his second try.
I can tell you, if I know anything about Nas Botha, is what I've heard from him on commentary, and he will not be happy with that defensive effort from Deepak Kumar. Ratpatha he's missed just the one, and it stays at just a one as he puts Sri Lanka 30 points ahead. As much as it will break the hearts of the Sri Lankan fans and the team, it will be nice for India to take a try away with them, as Azmir Fajuddin and Sashika Ashan come on for their Sri Lanka debuts. Proud moments for both these players, an old Rawley's and an old Wesleyite. Fajuddin grew up playing his rugby just across the road from the racecourse at Royal College. The restarts have been a point of concern for Sri Lanka. Sashika Fernando with his first carry of the game. That'll settle his nerves. And Ratpatha at first receiver thumps this ball hard and long to Niraj, the number 8. We'd like to see a little bit more with ball in hand. Lovely little kick pass. Beautifully done. And that's the first time we've seen Abhishek Shukla with ball in hand. Here's Deepak Kumar. Dummies. Gives it to Patel.
No heads, no heads, no heads.
Sukumar surveys his options. Here's see the Indian coaching staff being frustrated on the sidelines, but referee Wang had a measure of it.
Okay, but your player got a roll.
Sri Lanka just flopping on the wrong side of the breakdown there.
Good, Abhishek, good.
Come on, boy.
Yes, Hiranta Pereira will also come onto the park. See who he's replaced in a minute. That's where the penalty was given away. So Tharinder Ratwata stays on. Looks like Hiranta Pereira has come into the number 12 position, and Ratwata has moved to fly half. And Tenukananekara's 2-try night is over. And he is the experienced campaigner, one of the few men with 15 caps. Kavindu Costa comes on to replace the youngster Heshan Jansen. Sukumar. Khatri.
Roll.
Running onto it was Shivam Shukla. Sundavishan lucky to get away with that tackle there.
Yep, ball's there.
India has also gone to their bench, and looks like it's Pradeep Tanwar that has come on. The number 7 jersey. Tanwar with a bustling run. Close quarters stuff from India. They've got about 15 meters to go.
One step.
Sankar Patil wants to get stuck in here, and Sri Lanka conceding penalties. This is where Coach Martis will be concerned. Ravin De Silva giving that penalty away there. Now a little bit of space opening up
Roll away.
for India through Javid Hussain.
No hands.
Mohit Khatri that time carrying the ball strongly, and the Sri Lankan reserves getting up quickly. Here's Niraj.
Leave it now.
Good run by Niraj. Hitesh Dagar.
Okay, advantage is over.
Hiranta Pereira as well to get a shoulder into that tackle. Deepak Kumar, who tries to put the little pop pass over, but lovely bit of basketball defense there from Lasindu Vishan, who pumps his legs now. While he pumps his legs, he leaves the ball behind. Good ripping that time from the Indian team, and it's getting a little scrappy now, isn't it, Abdullah? Bit feisty.
That's it. Okay, hold.
Yes,
Tight.
and I think the referee has spotted a high tackle on that occasion.
Anything from you? I've got a high tackle for you. High tackle.
And for his efforts, which were a bit high, Akash Madhushan is sent to the bin for 10 minutes. Sri Lankan coaching staff will not be too happy with that.
We saw the frown had returned to Sanath Martis's face, and Akash Madhushanka on debut is being sent to the bin for a high tackle. So he will need to make sure that he keeps his discipline. He's got 4 days to really master the art of defending in that 13th channel.
Probably the best opportunity for India to get a try here. Sri Lanka down to 14 players. Line out just about 8 meters away from the goal line.
Well, that's a lovely move. Beautifully done by India. Excellent execution of that change in the point of attack.
Okay, leave it wide.
India still going, borrowing through on the far side, and they've got the try. India have got the try, and you can see how much it means. Excellent work from them in the line out, and it's that line out that created the separation in the defense. And after that, it was some quick picks and go that saw them screw, and it looked like it might be Bharat who got the ball down. He was definitely part of the crew that took it over. You couldn't see exactly the number that scored that try. But India get their first try, and Sri Lanka have an all-new front row on the pitch who probably weren't in the game long enough.
Yes, it was just the change in point of attack at line out that made the difference. Caught Sri Lanka a bit by surprise, and from that point onwards, they were continuously on the back foot. Some good pick and goes, good body position as well, putting Sri Lankan defense under a lot of stress. As a result, India have managed to get their first try.
Many of the fans watching in India and around the world will remember that shift. Beautiful kick by Deepak Kumar. Absolutely wonderful kick, and he barely struck it, didn't he, Abdullah? It was such a short backlift and has such a short follow through as well. And Punia, wonderful kick.
Just can sense the influence that Nas Bodhan has had on the Indian skipper's play. Just the way his composure, the way he kicks, not just off the tee but even off the hand. It's part of the game that the legendary Nas both are specialized in. As we have a look at that try once again. Really good composure by the Indian pack to get their first try of the game.
She's saying that try was reminiscent of the 2011 try scored by the All Blacks, Tony Woodcock.
Use it!
Jerome Kano transferring to the front of the lineup, an identical move. It's probably where they picked it up from. It's dangerous from broken field. Plenty of pace, but look at the pace from Abhishek Shukla to get across. It's not a great pass for Murshid Zubair, and Sri Lanka now. The errors are starting to creep in late on in the game.
So I think the Kumura needed to either straighten out and get the ball out a bit early. He took a couple of steps too many. The pass wasn't great as well, and the Indian defense was pretty much up on Zubair. So the fullback would have had his eyes on the oncoming Indian defense. As a result, an unforced error. So that would be the end of Zubair Dore's game. He's been replaced by Hirusha Netmina at fullback. So we just got into the last 15 minutes of the game. Sri Lanka have pretty much got all their subs on. Like to get at least another couple of tries before the end of the game, just to make them feel a bit better. Would be desperately disappointed that they conceded that try a couple of minutes ago to India.
Both sides are already binding.
Proud day for Kingswood as well. Kingswood College, the first school to play rugby here in Sri Lanka all the way back in the early 1900s.
I called crouch.
And to have Hirusha Netmina and Dina Lekanayaka in the squad, the Kingswoodian
Okay,
at
boys.
fullback.
Crouch.
After Nalaka Virakudi manned that position for so many years.
Set.
Lots of stories around the game of rugby.
Play.
Kavindu Costa managing to peel for that ball after the Indian scrum had become a bit messy. Lovely take from Tarinder Ratpat around his bootlaces, picks up and goes again. He's still going. The 65th minute. They don't have a scrum off now. De Costa is in there. Suhir Anthony deputizes.
That's fine.
Here's Kavindu De Costa now to Tarinder Ratpat. India's line speed has been absolutely outstanding, shutting down any time in the 10-12 channel that Sri Lanka might have had. Here's Sukumar, has to go back and do a bit of tidying up work. Here's Shukla. He's got a bit of pace on him, Shukla, and a bit of power as well, but just can't find the space.
One step, one step.
Sukumar to his big ball carriers now.
No hands, leave it.
Ashan leaves it when referee Wang tells him to. Deepak Kumar, the lovely short pass, and that's good hands to Niraj, but just behind him, here's Ajit Kumar. Nice ball to Javed Hussain. Hussain kicks ahead, and Hirusha Netmina's first touch will be a dangerous one, but he does beautifully. Off the bench, Hirusha Netmina just stripping on this cut-up turf. Looked like it might be a run that would create something, spark the interest of the crowd. But unfortunately for Hirusha Netmina, it's cut down by a blade of grass.
Yes, Netmina probably should have linked up with the rest of his supporting crew who had dropped back to support him. Decided to go solo and just found himself isolated, lost his footing as well. Skip Punya will try to create another opportunity for his team. Finds touch inside the 22. Look at that once again. Netmina initially did extremely well to recover position. Probably should have looked to link up with the rest of his team. found himself slightly isolated and as a result conceding a penalty.
He's got fresh legs, Abdullah, so I think the rest of the team just had a bit of trouble keeping up with him. That's an important facet to realize as well when you are a backs player. Not to run away from your defense.
Wait.
Run away from your support, rather. Full line out for India.
Your player is going off.
Dagar has been their go-to man in the line-out, the number 2 jumper, usually the number worn by the hooker. But Bharat, who's come onto the field in place of Suraj Prasad. Well, this is an unfortunate sight for India. Neeraj going off. Surya Anthony with a lovely steal at the middle of the line-out. They finally started reading it. Viranta Pereira will straighten. Pereira looks for Karinder Ratwate, who's just cut down by Khatri. An important tackle. He just timed it beautifully, did Mohit Khatri. And you can see Ratwate's legs are very heavy at the moment, Abdullah. This ground is so spongy. And he's played the whole game. He's done most of the kicking as well, and he's done quite a bit of the heavy carrying at 12. But Coach Sanat Martis has played his cards, so Ratwate, barring injury, will remain on the field for 80 minutes. India's defense has been exemplary, even though they've conceded 33 points. Could have been much, much worse if they hadn't put their bodies on the line. With Neeraj off, still having trouble at the back of the scrum. Joginder Singh has had to go into number 8. And Suresh Kumar has come on in place of Neeraj. Yes, Viranta Pereira has played fly half before, Abdullah, for his school Isipatana, and Hirush and Edwin are doing really well to keep that in the field of play. The chase from India is not what they would have liked, and a long pass to Viranta Pereira from Lasindu Ishan. Viranta knows that he's the fresh legs on the park, so he has to do the bulk of the work at the moment, and he does that ably. Nice hands from Karunathilaka. Dinaleka Nayaka puts a little chip kick in, but well covered again by Ajit Kumar, who has been exemplary at the last line of defense today for India. Suresh Kumar getting driven back in the tackle by Tarinder Chaturanga. But still, Dushmanta Priyadarshana conceding that penalty. Deepak Kumar. He's a quintessential fly half, isn't he, Abdullah? Clean cuts. Shorts are clean as well.
Number 4.
Everyone around you to do all the hard work, does the positional decision-making role. It's a good hit by Priyadarshana, or rather Chaturanga. Fortunately, Priyadarshana, the guilty party, not staying on his feet at the breakdown. So just approaching the final 6 minutes of this game. Another good steal by Sri Lanka.
Yes, it's Nalaka Madhuranga who's come off the bench. Abdullah, the Army second rower. It's good to see an Army player back in the national squad. Sudaraka Dikkumra was their only representative for a long time. Here he is. Lovely little offload to Nethmina. And Nethmina cutting into the field of play. He'll be desperate for a try. to compete for that starting fullback position. Here's Ratwata, runs onto it beautifully and he gets the try he deserves. He's a 74th minute of play. He'd probably rather be up on the bench with his feet up, but he manages to find enough energy to hit that line hard and score a try.
Yes, again, some good distribution by Costa at the breakdown. That's the way the Sri Lankan team would want to play the game, at pace. They just haven't been able to do it consistently enough in this game, but I'm sure this hit out will definitely hold them in good stead for the game, the final coming up on Saturday. As you have a look at the replay once again, wonderful break by Hiranta Pereira, showing good strength to stay on his feet, linking up well with his co-center. And Dikumbura, lovely offload to Nethmina, making a half break, did very well to lay the ball back, and Costa right on point to hand it over to Ratwata to put the finishing touches.
Good communication from the support players all around there. Make sure that the ball carriers knew where they were, and great work from the ball carriers as well to just wait the passes onto the oncoming player. Nice work from Costa there, just to hit Tarinder Ratwata in the breadbasket for him to go over. These two have played together before as well at CRNFC, Sri Lanka's league champion club for this year. Ratwata, of course, playing up in Kandy for the league champions for many years prior to this year.
It's been a good crowd here at the racecourse. Been able to witness two pretty good games, isn't it, Shanak? A very close encounter in that first semi-final between Qatar and Kazakhstan. And the home team putting on a good display. Would call it outstanding, but a good display.
Yes, a young team that is playing together for the first time. Lots of new combinations as well. As Saril Chaturanga gives the ball away.
No!
And India will try to finish this game off with a flourish. Suresh Kumar. Mohit Khatri. Khatri again directing the play from the base of the scrum, base of the breakdown this time. Penalty for India, and they will probably not opt for posts at this point in the game. Adisha Veeratunga, who did a good job, has been rested as one of the key players. He went off pretty early on.
India's point of view, I think they'll be pretty pleased with how this game has panned out eventually. May not be the result, but can't fault their effort. Thrown everything at this Sri Lankan outfit.
Well, Sri Lanka has about 120 years of rugby, 125 perhaps behind them.
Yes.
India still coming into the game in the same way that Sri Lanka has, but with 1.2 billion population, Abdullah, you have to think it's only a matter of time before India and China become giants of Asian rugby to rival the likes of Japan and Hong Kong. Our co-commentator Romario De Silva has slithered out of the commentary box to keep company with far more high-profile people. Here's Deepak Kumar. A little bit of a kick through from Javed, and Hirusha Nethmina will hear the herring footsteps of Joginder Singh, but he touches down calmly.
Goal line. Sorry, goal line. I got confused.
So what have you seen, Abdullah, for Coach Sanat Martis to think about before the Kazakhstan game in 3 days' time?
This is probably just the fluency of Sri Lanka's overall play. Ekanayaka.
Does well to get back, does Khatri. Ekanayaka had a couple of hacks at that. And here's Deepak Kumar. Khatri that time. That time it's Prince Khatri. Chasing on to is Patil. Came on at loose head prop and he's been absolutely everywhere, has Sanket Patil.
No, Dan, no!
But Sashika Ashan now has turned the ball over. Quick ball to Akash Madhushankar, just can't get away. The penalty is coming for Sri Lanka again, losing their feet over the ball. And you have to sympathize with the players in these conditions, Abdullah. The slippery surface. It's really not easy to keep your feet, but that's what rugby is all about. Taken quickly by Kavindra Di Costa. Looks for Tarindra Pathan's lovely inside ball. And it looks like Hirusha Netmina is going to get the try that he wanted a little earlier. Netmina coming on from the bench. Recipient of a superb offload from Ratpatha, who received one moments prior. And he goes in under the posts and will probably convert it himself.
Yes, for a lot of these lads, it's a very memorable occasion. Winning their first cap, Costa taking the quick tap, Ratwata making a half break, Netmina supporting, running a wonderful inside line and putting the finishing touches to that move. It's good that Sri Lanka will get that score and finish on a high. Netmina will look to put finishing touches with the kick. By all accounts, this will be the final act of this game. Netmina makes no mistake. And that's the end of the game. Sri Lanka running out comfortable victors, 45 points to 10. They'll advance to the Asia Rugby Men's Division 1 final. And they'll take on Kazakhstan this coming Saturday.
Yes, and conversion and finishing the ground for the Indian team. They managed to score a try, and I think they would have come out with the target to score at least one try in this game. But as you said before, Abdullah, you just cannot fault the effort of this Indian team. They don't have the rugby pedigree that some of these Sri Lankan players have, but goodness, you can't fault the effort that they put out there today. The game was played in really good spirit as well, and Sri Lanka have plenty to do before they take on Kazakhstan in the final of the Asia Rugby Men's Division 1 tournament. They've booked themselves a slot against the Kazakhstani team, their perennial foes in this division of the competition. Abdullah, we've seen many a pitched battle between Kazakhstan and Sri Lanka, and we're heading for another one as well. That will be on the 4th of May on Saturday at 7 p.m. So we hope that Sri Lanka will come out in their numbers to support both teams and support the celebration of rugby that this tournament has been, and show the Asian Rugby Football Union that Sri Lanka really is a venue that they cannot discount.
Yes, from Sri Lanka's point of view, they'll be pretty pleased with the effort they put in as well. Shanika, as you mentioned, playing together after a long time. They'll be better for this hit out, but they'll also realize that they'll need to up their game a few percenters if they are to get the better of a very good Kazakhstan outfit. Just a matter of getting the tactics right, isn't it? I don't think you can make too many structural changes in this short space of time. Recovery will be a big part leading into that game. Probably a lot of tactics spoken about. Also, what they'll be hoping is much better weather conditions. They can have a nice dry outfield. It'll help the Sri Lankan outfit to execute the style of play they would like to employ in that final.
Yes, that will be the key factor, isn't it? That's something that neither of the coaches can control, and it will have a huge bearing on the outcome of that game. Here's the highlights of the second half. Kulasi Dasanayaka scoring the second of his tries and the first of the second half. Eshan Jansen happy with what his forwards were doing. And here's Tenukanane Akara gave the big fend and sold the dummy and went in under the post, finished it like a winger, the fly half. Very easy style of running Tenukanane Akara. And that was India's first and only try. Really well done in the line-out. They executed it to absolute perfection. And another absolutely perfect kick as well from Deepak Kumar. Hiranta Pereira made a difference since coming onto the park. Lovely offload for him, Akash Madhushankar. And then Sudaraka Dikkumara to Hirusha Netmina. He set up the breakdown and Costa's timing of the pass was superb for Tharinda Ratwatta to go over with the fend. And here's Costa again giving it to Ratwatta, that familiar combination. And Ratwatta with the inside ball for Hirusha Netmina. Just the 3 tries for Sri Lanka. They'd want a few more than that. As you said, it's a solid 7 out of 10 performance. But to win this division of the tournament, they will probably need to be at a 9 or a 9.5, if not a 10, because the Kazakhstani team will take some beating. They took a lot from their game against Qatar today, and high on morale as well. Let's see what Romario has for us pitch side with the Sri Lankan team.
A great victory for Sri Lanka here over India, defeating the visitors 45-10, and I've got the vice captain Tharinda Ratwatta. Thari, first of all, congratulations on the victory. How do you think the team played, and what sort of challenge did you really expect from India?
The thing with India is they are a very unpredictable side. We have no history of them ever playing, but hats off to them. They gave us a good fight. The score doesn't really tell the true story. Hats off to them. Congratulations to them as well. Well played. The team as a whole, honestly, we definitely stuck to the plan as much as we could. There were a few grey areas, but that's also because we had 2 weeks to prepare and the team is still gelling. We can only go up from here. So yeah, I'm very happy and pleased with the way the team played, but there's always room to improve.
Indeed, there's always room to improve. Thari, India came out really hard at us in the first 15 minutes, but after that they petered out. How do you think Sri Lanka settled into the game plan and we dispatched them?
So anyway, we expected them to give us a good fight, and the game would have been decided in the first 20 minutes. That's what we were targeting from the beginning, expecting them to come all guns blazing in the first 20. So our plan was to weather the storm, hold out, not to be rushed, not to force things, let the game come to us, and then once we build up on that and build up a considerable lead, which we managed to do, we had a little bit more freedom, a little bit more open rugby.
Next up, the final, and it's against Kazakhstan. We saw them, they were also quite hard hitting, and they did, we could say they did spring a surprise beating Qatar, because many of us expected Qatar to be in the final. What do you think they will have in store against us?
From the little we managed to watch, they seemed a bigger side than most, and also very physical. So again, we have to just weather the storm, play smart, be patient, trust in our process, trust in our game plan, and most of all, believe in ourselves and back ourselves whenever we get the chance to run. So that's, I think, mostly what we should be doing and what we should be concentrating on. Of course, the coaches will have their video analysis and stuff like that. So let's hope for a good one.
Okay, Dari, congratulations on the victory and all the very best for the final.
Thank you.
That was Tharinda Ratwatta, the vice captain, speaking to us live on the papare.com. So it's Sri Lanka defeating India 45-10, and before that it was Qatar defeating, Kazakhstan defeating Qatar. So the final is in store on the 4th of May. Do join us on the papare.com.
45 points to 10 winners over India. 7 tries to 1, 5 conversions to 1. And India with a penalty goal. They took the lead early on in that game and had plenty of offerings early on for the first 15 to 18 minutes in this game, Abdullah, until Sri Lanka scored their first try, and then the floodgates opened in the first half. But India came back strongly in the second half and conceded only 3 tries in the second half as well. and have plenty of potential in this game. So we will see Sri Lanka now, fresh after that game, coming out against Kazakhstan on Saturday the 4th, and we see India who will take on Qatar in what will be a very interesting game there as well, because India look to spoil and Qatar don't look like they have the star runners in their ranks. So it will be a pretty turgid but still very interesting affair, I'm sure. Of the two losers of the semi-final, the winners go on to play for bragging rights in this Division 1 tournament of Asia Rugby as well. That brings us to an end of our broadcast on Asia Rugby on the Papare and Theatre TV and all the other Facebook channels and social media channels that we've come to you on. And as the lights change color and the sun has well gone down on Colombo, we'll be back with lots more Asian rugby action, international rugby from Colombo, Sri Lanka for you on Saturday afternoon and evening. Please join us then. For us at thepapare.com, Abdullah Yusuf, Romario De Silva and Shana Kamarasinghe, it's bye for now.